Howdy, I am Austin. I am the independent developer working on Stuff, which is a to-do list app for iPhone and iPad. For those of you that have followed this for a long time, you know that Stuff has been on the market now for about 4 months. First released in beta last June, and for a long time I've been teasing this new design that's going to come to Stuff. And I have really exciting news today, which is that design is finally going to be made available on the App Store next week. It's something that I have been working on for a long time. Besides just actual design work that has gone into this, there's been a lot of implementation work. So I'm not going to hold it back anymore. Let's dive right into this and let me show you a bunch of new features in Stuff's design in next week's update. Okay. So this is Stuff 2.1. It's the first major update to Stuff since release a few months ago. And right off the bat, you're going to see that it looks different. So it's refreshed as far as the design goes. Check out these trays up here. The new Inbox and Today trays look really awesome. I'm really excited about how those turned out. And then in general, throughout the app, you're going to see a lot more consistency among design patterns, but also among colors. All of the colors are part of the same color family now, so they all work really well together. And the design is really cohesive throughout the entire app. So things like opening up tasks looks like how you'd expect it. Things like seeing the metadata on lists looks how you'd expect it. Overall, I'm really excited about how this new design turned out. And there's a lot of little affordances in here, which are going to help the app be more productive and work for you more and help you get an overview of all of the tasks and the stuff that you're trying to stay on top of. So one of the first things that you'll notice when you dive into Stuff 2.1 is the new updates that help it feel more tactile and feel like you're working on paper. So for example, watch what happens when I check this task off, and watch closely. You see how that check mark writes itself on? Awesome, right? It almost feels like you're writing it yourself on a piece of paper. Same thing happens when you cancel a task. So watch this. The X writes itself on just like you would if you were doing it on a piece of paper. So things like this help Stuff in general feel a lot more tactile, feel like you're working with pen and paper, but you have all the affordances of having it in your pocket all day and automatically keeping track of things smartly for you so that you can stay on top of thousands and thousands of tasks, which would be really hard with a pen and paper. Now, along that same vein, there's a brand new feature in Stuff called Today Card. So you can now access your today tasks anywhere in the app just by tapping on this star icon up here. So let's see what happens. This is your Today Card. So it's going to show you all of the things that are currently scheduled for today. It's going to show you how many tasks you have remaining, the current date for today. You can even check things off from here. You get that same check mark, the confetti when you complete all of your today tasks. So no matter where you are in the app, you can pull up this Today Card and get a quick overview of what's happening today. Now, the other thing you'll notice on this Today Card is this new note down here. So add a note for today. This is a brand new feature that I call Daily Notes. So daily notes can be used for whatever you want. I've been using it to kind of write my focus for the day. You can use it to write something that you've been grateful for that day. Just kind of a quick daily journal entry of sorts. It gets stored each and every day and reset at the beginning of each new day. So for today, let's say that I want to take some time for myself. So that note will now show up every time I open up my Today Card. It'll also show up on today. And then the other place that it'll show up is in my adventure log. Take some time for myself. And I can also look back at my adventure log and see all of the other daily notes that I've taken on each day. So these get stored in your adventure log right alongside the tasks that you completed and canceled for that day. So as I've been using this over the last couple of months, it's been really awesome actually. It's a feature that I thought some people might want, but I wasn't sure if I personally would use it. Actually, I've started using it every single day, and I use it as kind of a gratitude journal, so I can, or like a highlights, so I can look back in all of my adventure log and I can see all of the highlights for that day. And it turned out to be one of my favorite features of the new update. And I'd love for you to share with me how you use daily notes. So message me and let me know how you're using it. Okay, one of the other cool overview affordances that you get in this new update, I call the deadline bar. Okay, so you're gonna actually see it right here on this list, right there. So this list has a deadline that's coming up on Wednesday. Today's Saturday. So starting 2 weeks before the deadline, you're gonna get this little red bar that pops up. That red bar is gonna progress up and up towards the top, and then once it hits the top, you can see it right here, it's gonna start glowing. So when that starts glowing and pulsing like that, that means that the deadline is today. So it's been really nice as I've used this over the last little bit to kind of see working up towards that deadline. You also still get this countdown right here on the right. So if you see jujitsu training, you still know that it's 4 days away. And you're gonna see lots of deadlines in this list as well. So this one's 2 days away, this one's 6 days away, this one's today. But just being able to see that bar provides a nice kind of overview without you having to kind of process, what date that deadline is actually on. So hopefully you enjoy using that. For me, I've used deadlines a lot more ever since this deadline bar got integrated, and I think that you might find yourself doing the same thing. Okay, one of the last new features that I want to show you is notes on spaces. So previously you've been able to have notes on lists, you can obviously have notes on tasks, you can now have your daily note, but now you can also have notes on spaces. So this is really good if you want to kind of set an intention for a space and set what that space is for. So again, spaces are kind of for focuses of your life. So I've been using it to kind of set the purpose of each space, but these spaces can now have notes just like lists, and now your daily notes can have notes as well. So in general, notes are kind of populated more throughout Stuff. All right, so that is Stuff version 2.1. It's Stuff's first major update since release in November, and I cannot wait for you to get your hands on it. I think that you're really gonna love it. I've personally noticed that I want to have Stuff open more often on my desk throughout the day just because it looks so clean now. I think that it's gonna afford you a lot of conveniences that you didn't have before. The Today card helps you stay on top of your Today stuff all the time, no matter what list you're browsing through. So I love having like a project that I'm working on currently and then tapping open that Today card so that I can kind of check some of those things off for today, even as I'm focusing in this project, so I don't have to leave that context. Daily notes are huge. Personally, I've been using it as something that I want to remember from each day. So I'll write down something that I'm grateful for or a significant event that happened that day. And it's so cool as I'm scrolling through my adventure log to not just see the tasks that I completed on any given day, but also to see my daily note for that day. And then deadline progress bars, I think are a huge win. I've been using it to track when this update needs to go out. And I've just been watching that bar go closer and closer to the top as we get closer to the deadline. And it's helped me understand better than just a date label, understand how close we are to that date. So I think you're gonna love that as well. And then there's a bunch of other things, obviously. A ton of thought went into the color, into the design. So now that this update is coming out next Friday, let's see. Okay, I just double checked the date on that. So March 28th is our release date for version 2.1. Once this comes out, my next priority is going to be the Mac app. And the thing that I'm really excited to share is not only are we getting a Mac app, but we're getting a Mac app that's designed from scratch. So all of it is going to be built from the ground up to really feel at home on Mac. And where it is going to feel consistent between the iOS app, the iPad app, and the Mac app for Stuff, you're going to see a lot of things that are specific to Mac and that feel at home on Mac, and affordances on Mac that we just don't have on iPhone and iPad. So I'm really excited to get it over there. And then finally, as always, I want to thank you for all of the feedback that you've sent in. It's been super, super helpful. I hope you continue to use and to love Stuff. I hope that you'll consider supporting it with an extra Stuff membership, because that's going to help me spend more time on development on this in the future, and hopefully make Stuff into what we all know that it can be and what I've dreamed it can be for so long. So thanks for following along for the journey, and I'll see you next time. Thanks so much.